If anybody's tuning in right now, we're just gonna wait a couple minutes for anybody else to join us so you can just hang out with us for a second. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Michael Danahy. I work for campus housing here at the University of Kentucky, and I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves.
I am Shelly Dunkley, and I work in the orientation office.
And my name is Maureen Blair, and I also work in the orientation office.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be talking to you guys about a couple different things here. So rather than wait around, let's go ahead and get started. Give me one sec. We're just going to wait a sec while our presentation pulls itself up there. All right, there we go. Cool. So like I said, today we're going to talk about room selection, which is a brand new process that we're just launching here. Maybe you guys have heard a little bit about it. We're going to talk about See Blue U, and then we're going to briefly talk about move-in. And I just went over those topics. So we're going to talk about our room selection basics. The different steps that you need to take part in for room selection, your See Blue U, move in, and then we're going to have a Q&A. For the question and answer section, throughout the whole presentation, you guys have the opportunity to submit questions. You can just go and on your screen, you'll see a grid icon, and you can click that, and that'll take you to the Q&A section. You can type in those questions there. You'll be able to ask us anything about today's topics. We'll be able to help you out. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll go over those. Okay, so room selection. You guys might have seen a lot of stuff on social media lately. You know, maybe you've got an email about it, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of lay it out there. What is room selection? Room selection is a brand new process we're introducing at the University of Kentucky, and by the title of it, you probably get to guess. You're going to be selecting the room that you live in here on campus, and in fact, you'll be choosing the exact room that you're going to be living in. If you will do this, you're going to participate through your housing application. You guys should be looking for an email coming probably in the next day or so to talk to you about when your time slot is to participate. Each student who participates in room selection will receive a specific time slot. Not everyone will be going at the exact same time. But basically, those time slots are assigned on application date basis. So the earlier you apply, the earlier your time slot will be. And as long as you applied for housing by May the 1st, you will be able to participate in room selection. So be on the lookout for that email. And if for some reason you don't receive it, in the next 2 weeks or so, then maybe you should need to contact the campus housing office. So we're going to talk about the room selection steps. You're going to get your email. It's going to tell you when your time slot is. You'll go ahead and you'll log into your Living on Campus application. You'll be able to go back to your application in your My UK portal, just like you did earlier this year or maybe last fall, to apply to live on campus. And there's going to be a new section there for you to participate in room selection. First things first that you want to think about before you do this, you're going to want to request and accept any roommates. If you have a roommate that you would like to live with, and you guys know that you want to live with each other, you have to make sure that you've gone in your housing application, you've both requested each other and mutually accepted each other. Otherwise, when you get to the room selection process, you won't have the opportunity to live with this particular person. So make sure that you get that done before starting. So, as I said, there's going to be a section in your housing application that you're going to be able to see that you wouldn't have seen originally. That step is going to be called rooms. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go in your application, you're going to select rooms, and then you'll see the name of the building that you have been assigned to. You should have already received your building assignment email, so you know what building you're going to be in. you will click the name of your building, and then depending on the building that you are in, you're either going to see a list of rooms or a floor list. You're going to select the room or the floor that you're interested in, and then you'll select a bed space. They're labeled A through D, moving from left to right. So if you were to walk into a bedroom, the room on the far left-hand side would be labeled A. The next room to the right there would be labeled B. And then if it was a room with 4, you would continue on to C and D as well. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull in any confirmed roommates. So remember I said that you need to make sure you request and accept each other. This is why that's very important. When you go into this step of the application, you will only be able to see the roommates that you have mutually accepted. If you're not interested in rooming in anyone in particular, that's okay. You'll just go ahead and not worry about this particular part of the step. But you're going to go and you'll select your roommate a bed space. So if you have a time slot that is earlier than your roommate, let's say your time slot is the first week of June and maybe your roommate's is the second week of June, you actually have the opportunity to go ahead and book your roommate's bed for them. And so there are people who might actually not participate in room selection because their roommate went ahead and pulled them into the room. So as I said, you'll pull in any confirmed roommates and book them a bed space. Remember, they're labeled A through D. And you're going to confirm your booking within the rooms section. So you'll see a way to go ahead and click that rooms tab, and you'll be able to select that. Then you're going to receive an email confirmation, which will go to your UK email address, and that'll show that you participate in room selection. This has kind of been a brief overview. I encourage you guys to go to our housing website at uky.edu/housing, and you'll be able to see a more step-by-step process, as well as a video on YouTube that can walk you through that room selection process to kind of really dive into the nitty-gritty there and make things easier for you to understand. Remember, at the end of this presentation, if you guys have any questions, you can click the grid icon on your screen and go to the Q&A section and type in those questions, and we'll be able to answer them for you at the end of the presentation, whether it's about room selection or what have you. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleagues here for a minute or two, and they're going to give you just a kind of a brief rundown about what is C Blue U, why C Blue U is important, and then I'll take over and kind of talk about how you guys get the opportunity to interact with campus housing at C Blue U.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Shelly, and I work in the orientation office. And just to give you all an overview, hopefully at this point you have already signed up for your orientation. If you have not, then just shoot us an email. Our email is just simply orientation@uky.edu, and myself or Morgan will be able to get back in touch with you if you've had any technical issues or things like that. But basically, your orientation or your C Blue U orientation is a 1.5-day long program where we'll get you on campus, connecting with some other students in small groups. You'll be around campus, in the facilities, in the dining halls, and some of our residence halls, and exploring. You'll also be meeting with your academic college. Different departments from all over campus will be there to answer any and all of your questions. And most importantly, you will meet with your academic advisor and then register for classes on that second day. So it's a really, really exciting time. And just to remind you guys, your parents are invited to come, or if you have any guests or people who would like to participate along with you, they're certainly welcome to come along. We've got a program that will run right alongside of yours. So we are excited to have you guys on campus here in just a few weeks.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for that great introduction. And now I'm going to tell you guys kind of, you've heard about C Blue U, you know what it is about, but how can you get involved and interact with campus housing, maybe get some of those questions answered, learn some more information about where you're going to be living here on campus. So as she said, kind of what to expect. On day 1 of your C Blue U orientation, housing will be having some information sessions, as well as tabling. We're going to probably be on the 2nd floor of the Whitehall classroom building, and our table, you can come up and ask us any questions that you have. Our info session will be on the 1st floor. I misspoke there a second ago. But on day 2 of your C Blue U, you're actually going to have the opportunity to tour the different residence halls here on campus. You'll have the option to tour many of the different residence halls, or you also can just go to an open house in one of the halls if you don't want to walk around campus, or maybe you want to see a bedroom but you got to get out of Lexington really quickly. That option is also there for you as well. So those info sessions, like I said, they're going to be in the Whitehall Classroom Building, room 106. They're going to be at 1 o'clock, 1:40, 2:20, and 3 o'clock. Those info sessions are going to be with campus housing, UK dining, residence life, and the Plus account. So it's a lot of important information about the essentials of living on campus. It's definitely a presentation you and your family are going to want to attend. I know all the moms and dads out there really have a lot of questions during that session, so it's really important to come and check it out. So as I said, on day 2, you're going to have the opportunity to take some tours of residence halls. This is a list here of the different residence halls that we're going to be showing. I'll leave it up on the screen here for a couple of seconds. Keep an eye out for your hall. If you don't see your hall listed, because your building is a cookie cutter of another building, and so we might just be showing a different building instead. For example, if you are living in Baldwin, Smith, or Ingalls Hall, we're going to be touring Baldwin Hall, but all the buildings look the same. So if you don't see yours, don't panic. It's okay. But as you can see, it's everything from Central Hall, Champions Court, Hagen Hall, Kerwin, Roselle, and all of our Woodland Glens. So lots of different options there. Just to make sure everyone kind of gets a glimpse of what their new home away from home is going to look like. You're going to leave. The tours are going to leave at 12:45 p.m. From the the Champions Court 2 courtyard, which is right over there by the UK bookstore. And we'll be sure to help make sure you guys know where you're going when you're over there. So keep your eye out for that. And we look forward to having you guys tour with us. Remember, I know I've said it a couple of times, but I've noticed some more people have joined us. If you guys have any questions, feel free to click that grid icon to type in lots of different questions that you might have for us about room selection, C Blue U, etc. That way you guys can get those answers here. Okay, so move-in. I'm not going to dive too far deep into information on move-in, but I did kind of want to put some dates on your guys' radar. Our social media pages, you will receive, receive information for move-in via email, via social media, our uky.edu website, as well as I just talked about, those info sessions at CBLU. You'll get some info there. So we're not going to dive too far into it, but everybody likes to get excited and can't wait to have you guys here in August. So if you are planning on doing sorority recruitment, or you're going to be a member of the band, your move-in date is Saturday, August the 13th. If you are in a living learning program, which I know applies to a lot of students here on campus, your move-in date is going to be Wednesday, August the 17th. And if you're just a regular new student, maybe those other options didn't really appeal to you, but you're coming here to UK, your Big Blue move-in is going to be Friday, August the 19th. We are really excited to have everybody out there, and we'll have lots of volunteers out there to help you guys move in. And like I said, be on the lookout for information on what to pack, what not to pack, directions about how to get to campus and all that in the coming months here this summer. Gonna go ahead and show you guys some of our, we're on social media, as I said. We have, for Twitter, it's gonna be at UK House Res Life. For dining, it's UKY Dining. And if you're in the LLP, UK LLP. Instagram, it's gonna be at UK Housing Res Life, at UKY Dining. LLP does not have an Instagram account, but we also have Facebook pages. So be sure to connect with those. We love to see new followers, everybody getting all that good information, getting excited about living here at the University of Kentucky. So I'm going to go ahead and wait about a minute or so, let you guys type up any questions you might have. We're just going to pause here for a second, give you guys the opportunity. Maybe you came up with some questions during the presentation. Make sure you go to that grid icon and type those in, and we will start answering those in just a second. All right, guys, make sure you keep sending those questions in. We're going to go ahead here and get started on that and answering those. Okay, let's see here. Kelby asked, when will the time slots begin to be sent out? You should be getting those here in the next week or so. The first of the time slot emails are going to go out starting tomorrow. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Let's see. Does this process apply to students in the living learning programs, such as in Woodland Glen? Yes, as long as you applied for housing by May the 1st, you will participate in room selection. So make sure that you are keeping an eye out on that. Let's see. Do all buildings go at the same time, or are time slots assigned by building? Carly asked that. They're not assigned by building. They're assigned by application date. So depending on when you applied for housing is going to determine when you actually get your time slot to participate in room selection. Let's see here. How can I find out more information about room selection? You can go ahead and visit our website. It's uky.edu/housing. We have a tab there on the website. You can also check out our YouTube page, and that has a step-by-step video on how to participate in that as well. Mariah asked, the room tab won't let me click on it. Do I need to call and have it reset? No, the reason you can't click on it yet is because it's not open. Room selection has not opened yet. When you actually get your specific time slot, that's when you're going to be able to click on the rooms tab and participate in room selection. Someone asked, can you go over the process for a new student that might not have a roommate? Also, the housing application became active again after I get the building assignment and time email. The housing application is active. Parts of it are. The parts that are active are the sections where you can go in and put in any roommate requests that you might have, maybe participate in that roommate search. But if you don't have a roommate doing room selection, that's totally fine. You're just going to go and select the specific room that you want, that you're interested in, and it won't matter. You won't have to, select a roommate or try to pull anyone in. Basically, as it'll explain in the video, that each room is going to show its occupancy status. So if one of the beds are taken in the room, or both of the beds, or all 4 of the beds are taken in the room, you'll be able to see that, and that way people have the opportunity to choose to live there. Bryce asked, if our assigned time slot conflicts with our schedule, can we request for it to be moved? The time slot, when you receive the email, is just going to be when the time slot specifically opens. It's not going to necessarily be, it continues throughout the month of June. So if you receive your time slot and you can't go right away, that's okay. Your window will remain open until the end of the month. So you'll have the opportunity to participate in room selection at your earliest convenience. Someone asked, if my roommate applied for housing late, will that affect my time slots? No, your time slot is going to be based on your application date. So if your roommate ends up having a later time slot than you, you'll be able to go in the room selection process and pull them into the room. So I talked about that briefly earlier. You can check out that video on YouTube I talked about for more info on that. But if you'll be able to pull your roommate into the room. Here's a good question. Will parents have a different, I'm just bumped. Will parents have a different CBLU schedule than students?
So that's a good question. A lot of our sessions are actually going to overlap. So on the first day, you're going to have a lot of sessions with your parents or guests who came along with you. So you'll be able to kind of go through those sessions together. There will be some moments where we break off, the students do, from their parents and guests. So we'll be kind of escorting both groups around campus, but we'll have some student-led presentations that parents will not be part of, but they'll be getting different presenters coming into their rooms and helping them out with questions and knowing those answers. And on the second day, you guys will be separated for the majority of it. So we will have a program developed just for the parents and guests to listen to while you guys are listening and working with your academic advisors and then registering for classes.
How do I know if I've been accepted into an LLP? Emily asked that. You're going to receive contact from your Living Learning program that says you're accepted. So you should reach out to them for that information. If you receive an email, then you'll know one way or another. Sarah asked, can I room with someone that already has a room assignment? If for some instance someone has already been assigned a room, maybe there's a special circumstance that doesn't allow them to participate in room selection, you do have the opportunity to do that. You can just pull them in to the room or have them pull you in via the room selection process when you participate. Melanie asked, if my roommate and I are assigned to Hagen and we want a 2-bedroom suite, how do we ensure that the room type instead of a 4-person suite? Because it's a hall that has both types. So one thing that's important to note is when you are doing room selection, you're going to be able to see only specific rooms that apply to you. If it just so happens that 2 different kinds of room types apply to you, it'll be listed there. You'll be able to hover your mouse and it'll show you that say this is a one room type and this is another room type. So it'll be clearly labeled for you. Carly asked, I applied in October. When should I get my time slot? As I said earlier, they're just based on application date as far as who applied as early as they could. October is early, but obviously some people were applying for housing in August. So I can't exactly tell you the exact date, when you're going to get your time slot. Like I said, the earlier you applied, the earlier in June that you'll get it. Those emails, again, are going to start going out tomorrow, so just be on the lookout for those. Joshua asked, if I'm in a living learning program and someone I know is not, can we room together? Unfortunately, no. Being in a living learning program, part of the requirements for the living learning programs is you have to live with someone who is in that particular living learning program, mainly because it's going to help you, continue bonding with the folks in your LLP, as well as giving you those resources and just continuing building that specific designated community. Colin asked, do incoming students get any priority? As far as our application process goes, it is on a first come, first served basis. So any student, based on when they apply, we kind of just move down the list. So it's not specific to upperclassmen or underclassmen or anything like that. Mary asked, do all of the buildings have elevators? Most of our buildings have elevators, but if they don't, it's about 4 floors or less. It's not too much of a hike, and those are only a handful of those buildings. The majority of them do. Noah asks, if I'm a new student that is part of an LLP, does that mean my move-in date is August 17th or 19th? You will move in on the 17th. That is for all students participating in a living learning program. Melody asks, can you go over the process for choosing a room for your roommate again? Sure. It's in more detail on our YouTube channel, UK Housing and Residence Life. Be sure to check that out in our step-by-step process. But essentially, what you're going to do is you will first choose your room. It hasn't already done this for you. So the roommate number 1 will choose the room, and then they will choose their bed space in the room. And then at that point in time, you will have the opportunity to pull in anybody who has been selected as a confirmed roommate. So as long as you and your roommate have confirmed each other on your housing application, you should have the option to pull them in and select a bed space for them. Tori asks, when selecting a room, can we see who has already selected a spot in the room to compare compatibility? The answer is yes. You should be able to see the occupancy status for the room. They're still fine-tuning the details on how specific it'll be as to who is living in the room, mainly for privacy settings and reasons. But there should be some brief information about the student there. Colin asked, how much space is set aside for freshmen? As I said earlier, any student has the opportunity to live on campus. And when they do so, it's just based on their application date. We do have over 6,000 beds on campus. So the majority of the students that do live on campus right now are freshmen. So I wouldn't be too worried. There aren't, if you've applied for housing, you will get your housing there. There's not like X amount of beds assigned, but as long as you apply before that May the 1st deadline, you shouldn't have any problem.
There is a question about parking passes and buying them in orientation. Right now, it changes year to year with parking and transportation services, but it usually comes out, I think, mid-June or July. I would encourage you all to visit Parking's website for additional information, and their web address is just uky.edu/PTS for parking transportation services, and they may have an exact release date on that, but Parking will be available to answer any questions you may have at the orientation.
Hannah asks, there is a housing prepayment email I keep getting. It says that I can pay by June the 15th, but online it says May the 1st. Was the $150 prepayment part of the orientation fee or no? Hannah, the answer to that question is no. The $150 prepayment is due to be able to participate in room selection. So I would really encourage you to make sure that you've gotten that in. If you have paid your orientation fee, that's great, but they're not the exact same. So make sure that you do that, or otherwise you won't be able to do room selection. Carla asks, is there a place you can view the floor plans of the buildings? We don't at this time have the exact floor plan of said building, but you do have the opportunity to go on our website, like I said earlier, uky.edu/housing, and view the floor plans of the different room types. So if you are going to be living in a 2-bedroom suite, you can see what that 2-bedroom suite looks like. Mariah asked, I was assigned to Limestone Park 1, but am not in Lex Engage Living Learning Program. Will my building assignment change? The buildings that the Living Learning Programs are in are not just specifically reserved for students in that LLP. The LLP is housed, that particular LLP is housed in Limestone Park 1, but there will be students living there who are not in the Living Learning Program. So no, you shouldn't expect any change on that. Josh asked, when will the list of what to pack and what not to pack be sent? It should be on the website shortly. We'll be sending out more information about moving around that first couple of weeks in August, probably that first week in August. So keep an eye on our website and also be on the lookout for an email. Sarah asked, how do some people already have their room assignments? We did a room selection test group to make sure that it would work out well for the majority of students. So there's a chance that they probably participated there in that instance. All right, well, it looks like we are just about out of time here, guys. I encourage you, if you have any questions, to check us out on social media. Those things are up there before, but it's at UK House Res Life for Twitter, UK Housing and Residence Life for Facebook, and UK Housing Res Life on Instagram. You can reach out to us there. Check our website frequently. Keep your UK email inbox refreshed, but also you should be receiving emails from us as well. And if you have absolutely any questions that you haven't figured out yet, you can reach the campus housing office at 257-1866. One quick question, Taylor asked, what if I miss my time slot? Are there any more available? I mentioned it earlier, but your time slot is just when the window opens. It continues to stay open until the end of June, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'll go ahead and have my friends from enrollment management give a brief little sign off.
So just a reminder to everybody, please, reiterating what was just said, check your UKY email account. Pretty much everybody on campus is going to start sending you all a good amount of information to that account. So be active on that and check it. Also check our website. It's cblueu, just the letter u.com. We put all of the information that we've been mailing and emailing on that website. So that's going to be the most up-to-date and current information. So please check that and read through everything that we're posting on there and mailing and emailing home to you guys. As a reminder, make sure you get your final transcripts, high school transcripts into us. Any credits you've earned at a community college or another institution, make sure you're sending those final transcripts. Any old AP test scores that you may have, get those into us. That way we can have it all on file for you for when you arrive at your orientation. That way your advisor can be able to best place you in courses. If you have any questions at all, feel free to give us an email or shoot us an email. Our address is just orientation@uky.edu, or you're welcome to give us a call, and our number is 859-257-3256. But again, just please check your email and your mail and check out our website for all the most up-to-date information. And we will see you guys here on campus in just a few short weeks.
I also actually forgot to mention what our email address is. It is ukhousing@uky.edu. So if maybe you didn't get a chance, or I didn't get a chance to answer your question today, feel free to shoot an email there. The folks in the housing office will be able to help you guys out. Like we said, we look forward to seeing you guys in August, and go Cats. Have a great day.